Standard AI-assisted coding relies on ephemeral chat sessions. You spend an hour dialing in perfect parameters, only for the session to close and lose every project decision you made. Gemini Conductor changes this by moving your application's architecture into a permanent context directory. It saves your goals, rules, and logic as Markdown files directly inside your repository. Before we configure this, you need the prerequisites. Ensure you have the Gemini CLI installed and the Conductor extension actively enabled. Establishing this persistent memory means you never have to re-explain your project. Gemini now uses your repository's unique requirements to guide its future coding decisions. First, open your terminal and navigate directly into the folder for your project. Do not initialize this tool at your system root. If you run the setup globally, the AI's logic will bleed across every distinct codebase on your machine. Keep it isolated. Type /conductor setup and press Enter to launch the interactive configuration prompt. By locking the setup to this single directory, you bind the AI's awareness to this software alone. It learns the rules for this repository and ignores outside files. The CLI will first ask you to define your product goals and user needs. This illustrates the difference in output quality. On the left, a vague input like "build a to-do app" forces the AI to guess, creating a mess of conflicting logic. On the right, structured constraints produce a clean architectural blueprint. Tell the system exactly how to build the logic. Specify that it must use a React framework with server-side rendering. Define the user. State that the application is for enterprise administrators who require role-based access control. List your required macro features. Instruct the AI to implement Google and GitHub OAuth for the login flow. Set the visual boundaries. Require the AI to use Tailwind CSS and a monochrome aesthetic. Mapping out parameters with this level of specificity restricts the AI from generating out-of-scope features. It cannot insert a random widget if your configuration files explicitly omit it. Research into prompt engineering shows that specific exclusions are more effective than vague requests. By defining exactly what the app is not, you stop the AI from defaulting to generic, unoptimized code patterns. Next, the interactive prompt moves to the tech stack specification. Do not leave this section blank. Never assume the AI will select the modern tools for the job on its own. This graph tracks dependency stability. Without a locked stack, the AI defaults to its general training data, often pulling in deprecated or incompatible libraries. To ensure stability, explicitly list your dependencies. Specify Node version 20, Postgres 15, and Prisma. A locked tech stack acts as a definitive guardrail. Every line of code Gemini writes moving forward is checked against that specific infrastructure list. The final interactive step asks you to define the team workflow. If you skip this, the AI relies on its default settings, which often results in large, unverified code blocks that are difficult to debug. Control this behavior by requiring test-driven development. The AI must write a failing test first, implement code to pass it, and only then proceed. Dictating the workflow strips away the AI's default habits. It forces the agent to adopt the engineering discipline used by your human team. Exit your terminal and open your code editor. A new Conductor directory appears, populated with Markdown files for your product, stack, and workflow. These are plain text. If requirements change, manually open the file and type the update. These editable files now serve as a transparent reference for the application. You maintain total control over the documentation that drives the AI's logic. Your project's logic, dependencies, and behavioral rules are now fully described. Commit this entire directory to Git. This locks your Conductor files into version control alongside your source code. Return to your terminal and run /conductor/new. Gemini will read your established context to begin planning the execution of your first feature. You have eliminated the amnesia loop. With the context protocol complete, Gemini can now plan and execute features based on your project's history.